Chapter 23 of The Mandalorian is out, and it changes everything for the Mandalorian people. Before we dive into it, here's a quick spoiler warning. I don't really do play-by-play breakdowns anymore because there are plenty of really good YouTubers that are already established out there and are doing that already. Instead, I just want to offer my own thoughts from the episode. So if that's something you want more of, consider doing the corny YouTube thing and leaving a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. With that said, let's talk about why the Darksaber has no more power and the Mandalorians are going to change forever. The episode kicks off by establishing Moff Gideon as a very real and active threat. The last we heard is that he escaped from New Republic custody, appearing to be rescued by Mandalorians. However, we learn in this episode he now has troopers that are wearing Beskar armor. So it was most likely these troopers that rescued Gideon from the shuttle, and perhaps a piece of their Beskar armor was left behind. In the beginning of this episode, we see Gideon meet with the Shadow Council, a collection of scattered Imperial warlords who are all waiting for Grand Admiral Thrawn to return as heir to the Empire. We even got introduced to Captain Pellaeon, who serves directly under Thrawn in the Heir to the Empire novels by Timothy Zahn. This was really cool, and in my watch party last night, I geeked out over seeing Pellaeon. Hey, I know I said I wouldn't do a play-by-play breakdown of the episode, but this particular scene had me geeking out, so I wanted to break it down. So Moff Gideon is still at large, and clearly has an axe to grind with the Mandalorian people. At the end of the episode, we learn that Gideon has an Imperial facility on Mandalore already. Additionally, he's created an army of troopers that very closely remind me of the Imperial super commandos we saw in Rebels. Now, during the watch party, I thought that these troopers were the new version of Dark Troopers he was referring to, but I think he was mostly referring to the armor he wore. The armor that he wore looks like a combination of Vader's suit, the Dark Troopers from Season 2, and the Mandalorians from the Clone Wars. If you listen closely, you can even hear the armor making hydraulic noises similar to Iron Man's suit. This makes me wonder if the suit is augmenting his strength as well. This suit is important because it shows us that Gideon wants to rule Mandalore and rebuild it in his image. He's taking Mandalorian culture, the best parts of it, and factoring it into his new army of, well, probably clones that he is going to rule the galaxy with, or he would like to rule the galaxy with. When he says the most important improvement of the new Dark Trooper armor is that he is inside of it, I initially took that to mean that he cloned himself and that all of the troopers in white armor had Gideon clones under the armor. Upon a rewatch of the episode, I realized that that may not be the case, although I'm not taking that totally off of the table yet. This episode reminded us of Moff Gideon's treachery towards Mandalore. He's the one responsible for the Night of 1,000 Tears, the night when the Empire bombed and purged Mandalore. We learned that Bo-Katan surrendered the Darksaber to him in hopes of saving her people. Demanding the Darksaber, Gideon believes he is still the rightful owner of it and the ruler of Mandalore at this point. However, the Mandalorian people underwent a huge change in, let's say, worldview during this episode, and perhaps during this season. But when the children of the Watch and the Nite Owls came together, both tribes had very different beliefs regarding Mandalorian culture, and they still do, but they ultimately united in the face of their common enemy, Moff Gideon. You would have never guessed it during his scenes in the Book of Boba Fett or even at the start of Season 3, but Paz Visla sacrificed him for Bo-Katan, the Nite Owls, and the rest of the Mandalorians. To me, this exemplified what will be the downfall of Moff Gideon: Mandalorian unity. Gideon has fancy toys, he has Imperial resources, he has even Praetorian guards. Do you recognize them from The Last Jedi? His new armor is threatening, but his greatest weapon has always been that the Mandalorians can't get along with each other. They divide themselves. They kill each other. This whole episode, we got to see three very different groups of Mandalorians. Ones who weren't on the planet during the Purge, ones that made it off of the planet after the purge, and ones that never got to leave the planet. Much of that is because Mandalorians never got along with each other and they divided even before the purge. Moff Gideon has never needed to fear them because he knows that they're a problem that ultimately takes care of themselves. But that changed when Bo and Din brought the Night Owls and the Children of the Watch together, and they went to retake Mandalore together. Mandalorians uniting is a threat to Gideon and the Empire, and Gideon is missing what the implications of this unity means. In a moment where many probably wanted to see Din take off his helmet and kiss Bo-Katan, he tells her instead that he follows her because of her honor and character, not because of the Darksaber. Now, even though Din was the only one to actually verbalize this, I believe that the other Mandalorians are beginning to reach a similar conclusion, and they are also following Bo not because of the Darksaber like they were before, but because of her honor and her ability to lead well. So that leaves the Darksaber powerless. That means the Mandalorian people can unite behind more robust leadership qualities such as honor and character rather than a strong warrior. In the past, they've united behind powerful warriors, of which I guess technically Gideon fits the bill, but songs of eons past tell of a mythosaur rising and ushering in a new era of Mandalore. I think that this new era of Mandalorian culture is defined by unity. Moff Gideon is a powerful threat to Mandalore, but their unity has the potential to become a far greater threat than Gideon realizes, and this is precisely why I think everything will change for the Mandalorian people, and they will ultimately be able to overthrow the Empire and rebuild their culture in a new way. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. I'll be making a few more videos this week to cover some more details that are important from Chapter 23. I didn't even talk about Grogu's new drip, but for now, I wanted to share some of my quick thoughts regarding Gideon's return and the Mandalorian people. Be sure to leave a like on the way out, and I'll catch you in the next video. May the Force be with you.